You'll have an opportunity to unmute at some point and ask questions and talk about the book. But for now, we're going to stay on mute so that we can hear the person talking. Thank you. It looks like you all are becoming Zoom pros here. I know you can all mute and unmute like experts now. So we're just going to wait for a couple more minutes. There's usually some latecomers, and that's fine. All right, why don't we get started? Are you okay to get started, Janet?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Great.
All right, and Sue, I think we are going to be recording this, so anyone that is late or misses it, or if any of you that are here want to watch it later, we'll send that out. So I just want to make sure Sue is all set up to record
And
when you're ready.
Are you going to do a little introduction, or do you just want me to start?
Yep. I'm going to do an introduction. I was just checking with Sue if she's ready.
Okay.
Well, yes, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. All right, so welcome to our Young Naturalist Lunch and Learn today. Today we have author Janet Halfmann with us, and she's going to be sharing her book, Home in the Cave. And I'm really excited about this one because I was just saying it's kind of timely. We think about bats in the fall, and with Halloween coming up, it just kind of feels like a fun time to learn about bats and other cave-dwelling creatures. So welcome, Janet. We are so grateful that you're with us. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can see you big on the screen. Here we go. And for anyone that isn't already set up this way, if you click on speaker view, then you will be able to see the speaker in a bigger picture on your screen, and that's probably what you want. Again, make sure everyone's on mute. I think I hear a little bit of background noise. And maybe, Sue, if we need to, you can mute people if they're not able to do it. Okay, so that's it. So thank you, Janet, for being with us. And you want to just introduce yourself? You're not coming to us from Pennsylvania. You're from somewhere else, right?
Right. Right. Okay. Welcome, everyone. I'm not getting myself big on the screen. Is that?
Oh, yeah, that's normal. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
we see you large on the screen when you're talking.
Okay, good. Okay, I want to make sure that everyone's going to be able to see the book okay.
Yep.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. Hi. I'm in my home office here in Wisconsin. And I know that some of you are in Pennsylvania and others are in other places. And I'm so happy that the Darby Creek Valley Association invited me to read my book. And as Aurora said, my name is Janet Halfmann, and I write picture books, and most of them are about animals and nature. And today I'm going to read my book, Home in the Cave. And this book is about a cave and the animals that live there. We have a baby bat and pluribus pack rat, and they're going to take you on a tour of the cave. And this book is fiction because the animals talk in this book, and they're also going to take you on a tour. But all the facts about the cave and the animals are true, so it's a combination of fiction and nonfiction. And baby bat is a gray bat, and gray bats are born in caves, and then they also spend their days in the caves when they aren't out hunting. And here's the pack rat, and I gave him the name Pluribus, which is sort of an unusual name. So as I read the book, if you listen carefully, you can maybe find out why I decided to name this bat Pluribus. Before we get started, I thought it might be fun to pretend we're in a cave. So first of all, a cave is very dark. And right at the entrance to the cave, the beginning of the cave, there's some light because the light comes in the entrance. And then as you get further and further inside the cave, it gets darker and darker, and you wouldn't even be able to see your hand. And I had sort of a problem when I was writing this book, because I thought, well, the cave is dark. How is the artist going to be able to show the, what's happening? And since Pluribus likes to collect shiny objects and put them in his nest, I thought, well, he could probably find a little flashlight somewhere. And so that's how I ended up doing that. And then as I read the book, you'll see the different areas of the cave, and different animals live in different areas, and I'll try to point those out to you. So we're going to get started. Home in the Cave, written by Janet Halfmann, pictures by Shannon Bersani, and the publisher is Arbordale Publishing. I'll show you the cover big here. Can you all see that? I'm going to read the page, and then I'll put the page up in front of the screen so everybody can see it. Hopefully see the art really big. On a ceiling deep within a cave, baby bat held tight to his mom. Thousands of other moms and babies crowded close, looking like a furry blanket. In the blackness, baby bat filled his tummy with warm milk. He heard squeaking and chirping all around him. The pup felt warm, cozy, and at home in the bat nursery. I love this cave, he thought. I never want to leave it. Never. If you look at here, you can see all the moms and babies hanging. I'll move back a little so you can get the whole. Is everybody seeing good? Soon it was dark, and time for the mother bats to leave the cave to hunt insects. Remember to practice flapping your wings, said Mom. You're almost old enough to hunt with me. Then she was off, in a roar of thousands of flapping wings. The bats zoomed around stalactites hanging from the ceiling like icicles. They soared past stalagmites, poking up from the floor like sandcastles. Baby bat didn't like his mom to go away, and he didn't want to practice flapping his wings. He figured that if he didn't learn to fly, he'd never have to leave the cave. To make the night go faster, the little bats told stories. Last night, my mom caught a gazillion mayflies. My mom ate a moth bigger than this room. My mom almost got snatched by an owl. That's nothing. My mom flew right between a fox's sharp teeth. So each of the little baby bats are trying to come up with the best, most exciting story. Sometimes it's fun if we do that with our families or friends too. Owls, foxes with sharp teeth? Now baby bat was even more certain that he never wanted to leave the cave. He hid under his wing, wishing his mom would come home soon. He heard flapping wings and stuck out his head. But instead of his mom, he found the little bats exercising their wings. So they're all flapping their wings now. They have to make their muscles strong so that they are going to be able to fly pretty soon. Baby bat knew that his mom would ask if he had practiced, so he flapped his wings very slowly. His mind was still on owls and foxes, and without realizing it, his toes let go of the ceiling. He was flying. He tried to use his sonar to tell him where he was going, but thud, he crashed into a wall. Down he fell, smack into a messy nest on a ledge. I wonder whose nest that is. We'll soon find out. When he opened his eyes, a whiskery face touched his own. Hi there, I'm Pluribus Packrat, said the whiskery face. Are you okay? I think so, said Baby Bat. But why is your nest so lumpy? Oh, that's just the shiny trinkets I've collected. These coins say E Pluribus Unum. That's where I got my name. Hey, I was just about to go exploring. Want to come along? We can use my flashlight and follow the scent trails I've made from room to room. You'll see the flashlight in the nest there. That's what they're going to use to help you see what's going on. Near the entrance, the pair woke a phoebe nesting on a ledge. Here's the phoebe bird. In the leaves below, Pluribus almost stepped on a rattlesnake. Its rattle echoed through the cave. Rattle, rattle. A little further inside, bright orange cave salamanders darted across damp walls. Plop! A cave cricket jumped onto Pluribus. Its extra long feelers waved about. Pluribus shook the cricket off and it scurried away. Those feelers help the cricket find its way in the dark. I forgot to mention when we were talking about the cave, it's not only dark, but it's cool in there. And it's also damp because the water seeps through the rocks. And so it's usually always damp in a cave. Deep in the cave, the pair visited Baby Bat's nursery. Pluribus jumped onto a ledge just above a huge pile of bat droppings called guano covering the floor. I know you love this room, said Pluribus, but thousands of other animals love it too. And they love it because of you and the rest of the bats. Because of me? Asked Baby Bat. Bats are very important to caves, explained Pluribus. All the food in the cave comes from outside, and bats bring in most of it. They fly out to catch insects and then turn them into droppings for other cave critters to eat. So we're going to soon see that big pile of droppings and how all the other animals think it's so yummy. Right close to lunch, right? Or maybe you're having your lunch. The smelly guano swarmed with thousands of critters. Springtails, mites, beetles, flies, crickets, millipedes, centipedes, daddy long-legged spiders, and more. Many snacked on bacteria and fungi growing on the guano. Others snacked on the guano itself, and still others ate the snackers. Why are many of the critters white? Asked Baby Bat. They're white because they never leave the cave, said Pluribus. Many are blind too. Here in the dark, they don't need colors to hide from other animals or eyes to see. So there's the big pile of yummy guano and all those animals snacking, having their lunch, dinner. A nearby stream held more ghostly creatures. Pluribus rippled the cold water with his paw. A cavefish swam over, expecting to find a water critter to eat. At the stream's bottom, the flashlight lit up a cave crayfish waving long antennae and a blind salamander resting on a rock. Do the water critters get food from bats too? Asked the pup. They sure do, said Pluribus. Rain seeps into the cave and washes the guano into the stream. The guano feeds the tiniest animals, and they become food for larger critters. Wow, I had no idea that so many animals depend on us for food, exclaimed Baby Bat. There's some more critters. Look like ghosts. Getting ready for Halloween, probably. Speaking of food, said Pluribus, I haven't eaten yet tonight. Like you bats, I leave the cave to find food, but I eat berries, nuts, and seeds. Pluribus took Baby Bat back to the nursery. The two hugged goodbye and promised to explore together again. Then Pluribus was off to fill his stomach and perhaps find another shiny treasure. As Baby Bat settled into his usual spot, he thought about all the cave critters that depended on bats. He started flapping his wings, faster and faster. Maybe I could go hunting with Mom, he thought. She'd be there to protect me. It's not like I have to leave the cave forever. He's starting to get brave there. He wants to help everyone. Mom soon returned, and Baby Bat snuggled with her, drinking warm milk. For the first time, he realized that his mom needed to eat insects to make milk for him. Mom, I practiced flapping my wings tonight, he said. And you know what? I think I'm ready to go hunting with you. His mom hugged him tight. Her Baby Bat was growing up. The end. And then at the end of the book, there's 4 pages of fun activities and more information about bats and caves, and about sonar, which is how the bats use sound and echoes to find their way around and also to find their food. And these activities, Aurora is going to send you a link to Arbordale Publishing's website and the link to their page for this book, so you can find those activities so you can actually read them or have your teacher or caregiver read them to you. And there's also lots of other fun things there. There's an activity guide with, I think it's 65 pages, all about bats and caves, and it's in every subject matter. So it would just be a lot of fun things and also a lot of things to learn.
Yeah, I was just looking at that this morning, Janet, and it's great. So all those extra bonus things about rock formations and cave habitats, I'm looking at my own book too here, is all there, and it's available for anybody, whether you own the book or not. So I'm going to send out a link to that. And then, like you said, 65 pages of learning about bats. So if anyone likes
caves,
bats.
right. And some bats don't live in caves. There are so many different kinds of bats. And so it also has 2 other activities for 2 other books that Arbordale did. And like the red bat that lives in trees, and others live, under bridges and things. So there's things to learn about not only the gray bat, but other bats also. So I wonder, if the kids had any questions about bats or caves or writing or just anything, we're open to any question.
Yeah, if anyone has a question, if you just want to raise your hand in the screen, or you can use like the raise hand within, I think, Julianne, that screen. Go ahead.
Would it be dangerous for people or other humans to go in the same caves as bats and all the insects and other things in the cave?
Almost always, if it's a cave where bats live, people are not allowed to go in that cave because it would disturb the bats, especially when the moms and babies are nesting. And, because if the mom got scared, she might drop the babies. And so actually when I wrote the book, I had to write it without people. And that's why I chose the baby bat and the pack rat to give the tour, because I couldn't have any people going into the cave. And that's how it is usually. I know you can visit some caves, and some, they might have some kind of animals, but not bats. Does that answer your question?
Great, thanks for that question. I see Kala has her hand up.
I've seen bats before.
Yes, at dusk, and as it starts to get dark, a lot of times, sometimes you'll think they're birds, right? But they're actually bats. You can sort of tell by how they're flying. It's a neat experience.
We saw them at our neighbor's house.
And they're so helpful because they eat so many insects. There are a lot of insects that like to eat the things in your garden or the things on the farmer's fields, and the bats just eat so many insects. I forget how many it is. I think it's about like 1,000 a night or something. And so
Yeah.
they are just so helpful to the environment and the world.
Yes, I know that here in Pennsylvania, at least, I don't know if it differs, but we put up bat houses to try to help control mosquitoes sometimes.
Yes.
Mosquitoes are definitely a smaller snack for a bat, but the hope is that supporting bats will help with the pests that we don't want around. So
That's right. Yes.
yeah, I think Julianne has a hand up again.
A few weeks ago, at our church, we found a bat on the ground, and so like we gave it 6 feet, but my dad found it, and at first it was in our church. It was sleeping in our church.
Okay.
Got in, so the people had to like get the big dustpan and sweep it in, and then they gently, and then they put it outside. And when after church we went to look at it, and it was still there. And so that was kind of cool. It was sleeping.
Yeah. Well, hopefully.
Wow.
Hopefully it flew off by yourself, but that's right. You don't want to touch, you certainly wouldn't want to touch a bat that you found. And the best way is to call some kind of a group that takes care of bats if it doesn't fly away, because they might be able to, if it's something has happened, it's injured or something, they might be able to help it.
Yeah, here again in Pennsylvania, we have an organization called PA Bat Rescue. And they are great. So PA Bat Rescue, you can look them up and contact them, and they'd be happy to help with a bat. And actually, I follow them on Facebook, and I like that because they have tips about, if you see a bat hanging low on a building, that means that bat's probably in trouble, and you should call because they shouldn't be like hanging low, and things to look out for. So there's a lot to learn there.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Does anyone else have any questions for Janet? And it could be about bats or caves, or it could just be about how she writes books or anything. I know I have a question. So I just, I'm still learning about bats myself. And I know I've seen pictures, I think, where a baby bat clings to its mother while the mother's flying. Is that, so I didn't know if a mother would always carry its baby. In the book, the babies stay behind. Is that completely accurate? Does that happen sometimes, and sometimes the mom takes the baby?
I think the gray bats, they always stay behind, but I'm not positive. I would have to do some more research on that.
So it might be vary by species.
It might, yeah. I definitely don't know about all the other bats, exactly what they do.
Okay.
It'd probably be safer for them to stay behind.
Yeah.
Because they have all together. And so in some moms and babies that are in the same cave, the moms are in one room and the babies are in another. Like the Mexican free-tailed bat, that's how it is. And that was one reason I chose the gray bat for my book, because I wanted to show that close relationship between the mom and the baby bat.
Okay,
but
interesting.
and then the red bats live in trees, and they usually have twins, twin babies, which is interesting too. So there's a lot of differences, but I don't quite know.
Okay, all right. Neat.
I had a couple things out to share. If the kids, I'm happy to answer more questions, but if not, I have a couple other things.
I do see Julianne has a hand up again. Do you want to
Okay.
share?
How did you come up with the book?
Well, this book I came up with the idea for this book a little differently than usual. Usually I come up with the whole idea, but this book had happened that I knew that Arbordale Publishing wanted a book about caves. And so I had already done some books for them, and so I said I'd be happy to write that story. And so I was able to just come up with, I could come up with the whole story. They basically wanted it to be fiction with a story and then the facts in it. And so in this case, that's what I did. And when I first wrote the book, I did have 2 kids doing the tour. And that's when they said, no, that won't work. So then I had to redo the whole thing with the baby bat and the pack rat doing the tour. So so that was interesting. But usually I come up with ideas. In fact, I have another book coming out with Arbordale next year. And actually Shannon, who I see in the audience, who's the illustrator for this book, she's illustrating that also. And it's called Yay for Big Brothers. And it's about big brothers in the animal world. And how I got the idea for that is when our grandson was 2 years old, he got a new baby brother. And sometimes it wasn't, you know, he liked a lot of it, but sometimes it was hard. So I thought it'd be nice to have a book that sort of celebrated big brothers. So that's coming out in next year, which I'm excited about.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's so valuable for young writers to hear that, you know, when you first write something, it's not necessarily done. You know, there's a lot of going back and changing and editing that happens. Because I think,
sure.
at least for my own kids, sometimes they get hung up on getting it perfect and they get stuck and they can't write because they're just not sure. And knowing that they can go back and change things, and that's what authors do.
They do. And a lot of times, if you let the story set for a week or so, you go back to it and you see it with a whole new light. Or you go for a walk. That's where I solve most of my problems. I just go for a walk out in nature, and then my mind is working. Yes, I'm walking, and when I get home, I've got the problem solved. Another question, especially since Shannon, our illustrators in the audience, is kids they want to know, well, how do you choose who's going to illustrate your book? And it almost always is the publisher who, the different artists will send their postcards or other ways of sharing their art with the publisher. So the publisher has a whole file. And then when the publisher decides to buy a story, then they figure out who they think would be the best person to draw the pictures for this story. And sometimes they share that with the writer and ask his or her opinion. Other times they don't. So, but I've had a lot of different illustrators, and I've been happy with all of them. And usually the illustrator and the writer don't talk to one another either. Everything, like if I have a comment on the art, I'll go through my editor, and the editor will go to the artist, because they want the person who's drawing the pictures to add their vision to this book. So you have the writer's vision and the illustrator's vision, and then it's a whole different vision. And it's when I found that it's always better. So getting that.
Wow, that's so interesting to know that, you know, sometimes there's just not like a close working, you know, relationship. I'm sure in some cases there is, but not always. And that's maybe not clear to everyone who just picks up a book and opens it up. And hi, by the way, to Shannon. I had no idea that we had the illustrator here. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah. A lot more people are self-publishing these days, and they'll usually have to get their own illustrator. So
okay.
And then there are also quite a number of people who are both writers and can draw pictures, and then they of course are communicating because it's one person. And you can do some neat things if you can do both, because you really know what you don't have to put in words because you're going to show in the pictures, whereas sometimes that's more difficult when you have two. Any more questions?
Yeah. So is there any more questions for from anybody, or comments, or?
They can think a while and I can show them. I thought they might like to see. We talked about Pluribus and how he got his name, and I think you probably all heard in the story about how he collects shiny objects, and one of those things is coins and pennies. And on all of the coins there is a phrase, E pluribus unum. And that means in many ones. So it's like we have all the different states, like lots of you are in Pennsylvania and I'm in Wisconsin. In many one, but we have one United States. So that's what that means on that coin. And so that's where he got his name. And I also thought, you know, the alliteration pluribus pacrat was fun, and it was a different kind of name. So that's how that happened. And then Shannon will recognize this. She had a lot of props for, you know, looking at to know how should I draw this. So she, and then when she got all done, she made a necklace of all those things. And she shared the picture with me. And I just thought it was so fun. I always share this when I'm doing story times, and the kids like to see. There's Pluribus and there's Baby Bat. And here's a key she had in the nest and a safety pin. Looks like, you know, all kinds of different things. So I thought that was really fun.
That is neat.
And another thing I thought the kids might like to know about is the whole guano thing. When I was writing this story, and I was gonna have, I had decided, okay, I'm gonna have Baby Bat just love the cave, but then I didn't know, well, how is he gonna, why is he gonna decide he wants to leave? How's that gonna happen? I had no idea. And I just was researching, and one day I found out that the guano, the bat droppings, go to feed almost all the animals when there are bats in a cave. And I never thought that I would get so excited about bat poop, but I was so excited. I don't think I could hardly sleep that night. I had solved my problem, okay? So he knew that, you know, if he could help other people, then he was willing to take those risks and go out and get those insects and provide food for everybody. So that's my guano story.
That's great. I do see another hand up coming from Kate's iPhone. If someone there wants to unmute, you can ask.
Go. What's the biggest kind of bat?
I missed. Can you tell me that again?
What's the biggest kind of bat?
The biggest kind of bat.
Oh, the biggest kind of bat. You know, I don't know. I'll have to look that up after.
Well, I think I'm not very sure, but I think it's a crown bat, like for a fruit flying hawk crown bat, like something like that. Like that kind of bat. I have no idea if that's right or not.
Maybe, yeah. I think a lot of those are fruit bats, and you're right. They might be bigger because, you know, they would have to be eating fruit, so they might have to be bigger. But yeah, I'll look that up. And you gave me a lead there, so I can look for.
And I think Julianne might help have an answer for us. I saw her holding something up.
Actually, I'm just going to split their names up. We can show them. Yeah.
Okay.
The biggest bat in the world is the flying fox.
Okay, the flying fox. And does it say where that flying fox lives?
Lives in the tropic and subtropic climate.
Okay.
Yeah.
The flying fox. So
in the tropics and
thank you.
subtropics.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you for. It helps to have a lot of people. So somebody doesn't know the answer, somebody else does, and then we can always, you know, look it up too. So.
Yep, and I bet actually in some of those additional pages I'm going to send out to everybody, there's probably some information like that. I saw they were talking about different species of bats, and so lots of extra stuff coming your way if you want to keep learning. Yeah. Okay, so I think we're going to wrap it up unless anyone else has any more comments or questions. I think we're good. So thank you, Janet, so much for your time and for sharing your book with us. It was really wonderful. And again, thank you for joining DCVA Young Naturalists. All these programs are always free because we want everybody to be able to be here and access them. And so we do rely on donations and memberships and just spreading the word to your friends, just telling a friend that, hey, I like this program and come to another one. Yeah, so I guess that's it. We have another one coming up in 2 weeks. Maybe we'll see you there. And I hope you all have a great afternoon.
Okay, thanks everyone. So nice seeing everybody's face.
Bye.
Bye-bye.